Well, it's a beautiful morning in Oxfordshire. I'm heading to the Bicester Heritage Select Driving Tours Summer Social, if I've got that correct. I'll put some information in the bio for this because it's a very popular event. Kind of like a coffee morning meets track session, so very cool thing. As you would have guessed from the title of this video, I'm in the Mclaren. It hasn't been without issues recently, but we'll come back to that later. It did, however, make it down here last night from Manchester without any issues, so that's quite good. I stayed at the very cool Western Manor Hotel in Oxfordshire, about 15 minutes from Bicester, so great to get to the event this morning. The suite was awesome. It was called the Bell Tower and had a giant bell hanging over the bathtub, which was pretty cool. It was, however, very warm last night, so I might have to rethink staying in an old hotel building's roof in the summer without any air conditioning. Anyway, it's about time to get going, so let's hit the road. What an amazing way to spend a Friday morning. Nice cars, nice people, great environment, good coffee, amazing weather. People were even swapping, letting each other drive each other's cars, doing passenger rides, just having a great time. So yeah, very, very cool experience. George, the founder, has created such an awesome community as well. And that event is a great way to push your car without going on a proper track day. I'll leave some info in the video's description, because there are regular events, but they do sell out pretty quick. Bicester Heritage itself is a cool place to visit too. I love that the toilets are technical latrines and there's classic cars and interesting things just laying around all over the place. The only downside is it's 3 hours away. So it was a bit of a slog to get back home in the Friday evening traffic. Anyway, let's rewind to last night when I picked up the car from Mclaren. So I left the garage and all I could hear out of the right-hand side with the window down was some sort of metallic scraping, rattling sound coming from the rear axle somewhere. The car went back in again and up on the ramp. 10 minutes later, one of the team came out holding a piece of metal in his hand. I thought, oh, sweet. So this is my Bicester Heritage experience well and truly done. I might as well go home and unpack my things. Not quite. It turns out this is a fairly redundant piece of metal and it sits somewhere in the rear chassis to protect the brakes from excessive heat or something. Anyway, Mclaren told me that this is nothing to be alarmed about. It is a part that they don't bother to replace because it involves drilling into the chassis and rethreading it to put the bolts back in. What's more concerning is that the one on the other side wasn't even there at all, which meant that must have fallen off sometime years ago, potentially before my ownership. So we don't have this piece on either side right now. As I said, Mclaren were quite chill, didn't seem to be particularly alarmed with this situation, and gave us the piece of metal as a souvenir, some chocolates, and sent us on our way. Now, this isn't the first experience I've had with Mclaren this year, so I will make a separate video about those experiences on their own. But until then, bye for now.